today we are going to be painting this barn. This is actually the scene at my Aunt Cindy's house on a January cold, rainy day, and hovering just above freezing. These are her ducks, geese, I'm not sure what they are. I think ducks. So just a couple things to note. How you trace this matters. I made sure to get the lines that I wanted in here. I got these lines. I ignored this hose right here. I did get a little bit of that tractor and this barn, and I did get the greenhouse back here. Now, I also want to show you this. I did pull in some light lines. I am working with a new piece of graphite paper, and it's brand new. And when you have a brand new piece of graphite paper, it does get a little bit of graphite on your painting. So just be careful if you have a new piece of graphite paper. Now we are going to start with this background. And what I want you to see is this is not white, but it is very, very light. It is a very light background. So I'm going to get a blue happening back there. I actually already painted this once. I wanted to see if it would be like beginner friendly or not, because it looks like a lot. Don't let that intimidate you. It does look like a lot, but it is not quite as challenging as it first appears. So what we want to start with is this light blue background. I'm going to grab this tray and I'm going to take my round 16 and I'm working with my French ultramarine blue, and I'm going to get it pretty wet. Now, the first one that I did of this, I went very light as it calls for to try to capture that color. I want to go a little bit more blue. This is a pretty moody painting. You know, it's that cold gray January day, but I can still capture that. So I'm going to just keep grabbing that in here. The next thing that I want us to do, I want to color map the barn or begin the first layer of glazing with the barn. Now remember, with this barn, you can always go darker, but you can't go lighter. So I can start the barn because I'm not going to be touching the sky at all, because there's the white trim that's happening on either side here. So I can at least begin these spots. So I'm going to grab the crimson in my Winsor & Newton set. And I'm just doing crimson, and I am still using my round 16. And I am going over where there are branches, because we will do the black branches over top of this. And that black will just kind of cover up this nicely, but for now we are just, and try to keep your brush strokes along the same line as the lines of the barn. There, that first bit of the barn is done. Now I want to come over here and get this next bit of the barn. I may need to move to my round 6. As a matter of fact, that's what I'm going to do. So I'm switching brushes. I just I'm not covering as much surface area as I just did. So I'm gonna move to my round 6. There we go. Okay, so that's nice, that nice color that we have down there. And the next thing that we are going to go for, barn outbuilding, is a very, very, very light gray. So we could use the blue. And again, I'm staying with my round 6 and I'm gonna pull that in here. There's windows over here. I'm gonna steer clear of those. A lot of that will be covered up by the branches, but just giving it its due. And the door, it's like a garage door here, that is white. So I'm gonna leave that white, but I am gonna get down here in these branches. There we go. The next thing I want to do are these roofs, and I'm going to use Payne's Gray, and I'm going to begin with a light coating of Payne's Gray, knowing again we can always go darker. So I've got my Payne's Gray from my Winsor & Newton, and I'm going to go ahead and bring that in. It's even probably not quite dark enough. There is a slight little line in between the sky and the roof line. There's a little white in there. And over top of that white, there is a little line that I want to uphold. Being careful to stay away from the trim. And take this Payne's Gray over here as well. Okay, and the roof here, it's a little bit brown. So I'm gonna just pull in this brown color right here. And I just had some brownish black already on my palette, and I added a little water. And I don't often clean my palette if I don't have to, because I can just reconstitute that color. Okay, so that's the brown in there. And I want to do a light color down here, like a dirty blue. And I'm gonna get that color in here. So this very lightly, just a little dirty blue, dirty Payne's Gray basically is what I'm going with. Rinsing my brush, I'm going back to my round, I'm gonna go to my round 2 here, and I'm gonna take some of this bluish Payne's Gray black, and I'm gonna get these windows. So it's just a light a light spot over here on the windows. I want to be careful of the trim while still darkening the windows. Got a little bit of that in here. And here. And just a touch in this spot here and here. Now I'm going to darken up right here and here. And there's these windows over here that are pretty dark. So I'm gonna grab this here like this. Those are pretty dark. And there's a door on this outbuilding right here that is pretty dark. And I'm gonna grab my black brown and I'm going to just darken this in here. There we go. That's great. Now, one thing that I can do with this black brown while I have it is it's pretty dark right here. I'm gonna darken this up. I think that outbuilding is dry. I hope it's dry as I'm trying to make these sharp lines. Okay, there we go. Now, what's next? I do want to get this building back here. That is it's almost like raw umber mixed with Payne's gray. It's like a dirty bluish brown. And I'm avoiding I think they're ducks. I don't know. Geese, maybe geese. Receptacle right here. I'm just gonna make that part of the building. It will make for a better composition. You can do that sometime. You control what goes on the painting. There's a door right here, so I'll darken up places again there, but also right here. There's stuff in front of this door, and I'm just going to ignore it. There we go. That looks great. Now, I want to grab my big brush again, and I want to get some green. I have a dark green happening over here, and I do want to pull that in down here. Just want to color map the whole piece. And you know, color map, that is a term I got from my painting teacher, Sharon Larson. And it's really glazing. And it's that laying down the color, right? So getting that color down first. The lightest color I see, knowing that I can build up the color as I go. And there's a lot going on over here. But what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna bring this in like this. Okay. We'll let all of that kind of dry. There's another building back here. It's pretty dark. I'm gonna move to my round 6 once again. And I'm going to paint it mostly brown black. It's a building with a door open. I actually think it's the chicken coop because I know this property. I think that's the door to the chicken coop, oddly enough. Okay, so here we go. Now we want to start with the color here, right? So we've got this nice barn. I want to darken up that red. I want to do another coat of the red. I'm going back to my crimson, and I want this to be just a really rich red. I could have switched to my round 6. That would probably have been the better choice, but it is what it is. I'm able to do this with my round 16 because I have such a nice tip here on this. Now, to begin to darken up pieces of this, so I'm going back to my round 6, pulling this Payne's Gray, and just kind of, and I'm gonna darken this up with lines over here. So I'm taking my Payne's Gray, I'm taking my round 6, and I want this to be a line. And I'm going to do lines right here. I'm going to leave some white spots in between. And it's beginning to show the grooves as I do this. It's a little darker right here. And there is a dark line right here. I think I'm going to continue with this Payne's Gray over here on this outbuilding and get right under here. And maybe even a little back here, kind of darken it up. And there we go. And I'm going to continue with my round 6 and just add a little bit more dimension to these windows here. I'm going to do that same thing right here. And I want to bring in this door right here. It's a little doorway. Okay, that's looking good. Now, these windows also need to be darker. And here. And I'm going to keep my round 6, but what I want to do is I've got a magenta, and I'm going to mix it with my magenta and my crimson, a little bit of brown, And I want to bring that color under here. It's almost like there's an eave under here that comes down right here as well. And it's like here and here. And this almost brings it under here. And it comes along this side. And you could extend it down these lines, but be very careful. You want to keep your hand kind of straight lines, as straight as you can get them. All right, that's looking very good. Very, very good. I am gonna just darken this up right here. Darken it here. Okay, that looks just great. I'm going to take my Payne's Gray and I want to get back in here. And I'm rinsing off my brush and pulling this Payne's Gray over. Because it is kind of a brown, but there we go. That brings that in. Now, that magenta color, that violet magenta color that we have going with our crimson, that comes in under here. It really does. And down in here. And we've got that blue just under here too, just strong shadow under there. And you can bring that in under here too. It's going to take a little while to dry, but that's pulling that in. And this strong blue, you can pull that in here and here. Again, more in here. I've just got some like kind of dirty colors that I want to pull in right here. So it's like, it's not black, it's not brown, but it is dark, it is right here. It needs to offset that. It needs to show the depth that's happening with that door right there. This is an interesting color. This is almost a brown Payne's Gray color, and my Van Dyke Brown doesn't quite do it justice. I'm gonna mix my Van Dyke Brown with my Payne's Gray. Unfortunately, that makes a little bit of a just more gray color, but let's see what I can get. More Van Dyke Brown. It's like this rusty color. I really want to get that in here. I think this is a gas pump. I think it was actually red at one point. I don't remember. This is a farm I've visited my whole life because it's my aunt and uncle's house. Pretty sure it's a gas pump, but we're gonna let that be like that for now. I wanna bring in my Payne's Gray once again. And just mixing up my color. And I wanna get in here. This is just adding shadow, pulling that shadow down a little here. And we we can pull a shadow along here too. Light, light, light. I could give it some there we go. Okay. Over here, there's this little tractor. It's nice and black, so I'm gonna go ahead and I think this right here, it sort of looks like a windshield to like a Jeep, an old Jeep, but that's not what it is. But we're gonna make it look kind of like that. And there are also these, this is a planter right here. It's a round planter. I think there's one behind it right here. This is a planter. Let's give this grass a little bit of depth. I'm getting some brown. I'm picking up the brown over here with my green. And I'm going to just kind of come in here and go like this. This is pretty wet in here, so I'm not going to do that in there yet. I am going to darken this line right here. And I'm going to darken the door. I'm going to pick up some black. Kind of darken that right there. And that line. I'm going to do a line right here and here. I do want to darken this up too. In here, it looks like a little bit of a red brown as a reflection of the barn in the water. I'm gonna put that in there. I'm gonna bring that in here a little bit as well. And then I'm just gonna come to the brown. And then it is, I need to be careful because this line is still wet and I don't want to pull that in too much. It's pretty purple, but it's gonna probably come down a little bit and that's okay. But it is darker down here on this side. You can just let that be a little darker. That is okay. Now, there is a lot I can do over here, but I do want to start bringing this in. And this is just tedious. So we can do it. It's tedious, but it adds so much depth. I debated not doing it, but the composition just looks so much better when we do it. So I'm turning it upside down. I'm using my round 6 and I'm gonna get as much black pigment as I can on this. I'm gonna move the tray out of the way. And just gently, you know, I don't have to do every little branch to have the effect that I want to have, but I did get enough to show that there is a tree. Okay, so as you can see, now we're gonna flip this over. Look at that. So great. Now there's a couple places that I see I would like to still darken up. There we go. That looks great. And this is not dry enough yet, but we will come in here with that as well. I want to get in this area, so I'm going to, that area, it's like bluish brownish. It's kind of a muddy color. So I'm going to fill that in right here. I do want to make this look a little less flat, so I'm going to get my black and just kind of do some lines right here. You can see that just adds so much, a little more definition, a little more depth, and it looks really good. There we go. That looks good too. And we just need to let this area dry so that we can put the tree in on this side. I'm gonna do a dirty yellow for these little bottoms right here. While I'm waiting for this area to dry, I can darken green that up. So I'm gonna grab my permanent sap and I'm gonna mix it over here. More permanent sap. I missed a shadow right here, so I'm taking that Windsor Violet and Permanent Magenta and bring that in under here. And it's kind of under here too. And a little bit along this line and here. There's this messiness right here. Just and that needs to dry to put that in. There's like a Payne's gray line along here and in some spots. It's nice to just kind of put it in. And this is really dark right here. So is this. I want to get a little Payne's gray. This is not a pure white. It is a little messy under there. Okay, now we're gonna work on this. We just need black and we need a strong pigment of black. Gonna start with the lines right here. And there we go. We have our barn. And now, of course, the last and most fun thing that we do is we take off the tape. And then like that. And there we go. It is done. Beautiful landscape barn.